How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. So we have a brand new series here. This series is going to be celebrating the original Flip for Wealth series that came out a long time ago. It's actually been about 2 years since that series came out. I think it's actually been more than 2 years since that series came out, which is actually pretty ridiculous when I actually look at the time and I was like, holy cow, it's already been that long. That series was one of the most popular series on the entire channel. I think it actually is the most popular series in the entire channel that people still talk about, which is pretty nuts. So I decided to come out with a new series that is going to both cover the things that we covered a little bit differently in Flip for Wealth, but then also bring in a lot of new strategies and techniques, including a lot of the questions that you guys have been asking since that series came out, and now we'll be able to ask them. So this is going to be a multiple part series, and I'm going to try to keep these videos a bit shorter and spread out the information as we go. So it'll be several videos in this series. I really hope you guys enjoy it. And let's go ahead and jump on in. So starting off right off, this entire series is going to be about flipping. So that is what we're going to be focused on. We're going to be showing you all the different techniques involved in flipping. And the main idea here is that by the time you get done with this series, then you'll be pretty proficient at flipping. You guys can also join our Discord down below. There's an invite link right down below. We have a pretty large Discord channel. There's over 3,500 people at the time of making this video. Hopefully in the future there'll be even more. But you guys can always feel free to join there, ask questions. I'm always on there too, so you guys can ask me questions directly as well. But going in and jumping on in, we're going to go ahead and start it with this video off with doing some of the price checking. So how do you find prices? Like how do you flip? Like what's the exact purpose of that? So the first thing I want to say is when you are going to start flipping, there's a few things that are probably going to run through your head. Number one, you're probably going to be a little bit confused when you first hit the Grand Exchange and you're trying to think about how to flip, because if this is your first time ever doing it, then it can definitely be confusing. It can definitely be a little bit, like what's going on. The basic idea is to buy items low and sell them for more. I mean, that is the very basic idea, but the thing is actually executing that can be a little bit difficult. Something else with this too is a lot of people have this big fear of losing money when they're going to flip. And what I can say is that losing money is just part of flipping. You are going to lose money on some flips. That just happens. So knowing that, just go in like just accepting that, because you will end up out earning what you lose. And that's kind of the idea long term with flipping, is that you're always going to be earning more than you're losing. So if you lose some money, it's not that big of a deal. Don't freak out about it too much. Just kind of shrug it off and keep moving. Even if you lose money on a flip, that means you learned something on that flip and you can use that to grow. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and jump on in with is how to do the most basic price check. So doing a price check is a great way to figure out how to flip an item. If we just go in here and we type in, let's type in a Bandos Tacit, because a Bandos Tacit is an item that you can definitely flip if you'd like to. It's also a fairly cheap item too that you can start off with. It's a great starter item. So let's go ahead and jump right in here, and I'm going to put an offer in for like a massive amount. I actually highly recommend don't go crazy with this, because every once in a while you might actually buy the item for like a ridiculously high price. But for the most part, what's going to happen when you push the confirm offer is you're going to instantly buy it, hopefully, and this will get a green bar. An instant buy, or that is usually written in a chat as INB, means that there was no time at all waiting to buy that item. If I go over here and I type in Bandos Tacit, oh wait, never mind, it's a buy limit of 1, so that wouldn't work. If I type in Bandos Boots, and let's say I'm going to try to offer this price right here, I put my offer in. Notice how it does not fill automatically. If there's any time at all for this bar to fill, then it's now a non-instant buy, or that would be written as NIB. So keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out prices of items. That's definitely going to come in handy a little bit more later, but I want you guys to get kind of familiar with the terminology that everyone uses involving flipping, and I'll explain that a little bit more as we go along. But for now, we know this was an instant buy, INB, on these Bandos Tacits, and we know that we instantly bought them for 1,119,209. So what you can do, and you may not want to do this with items that you feel are expensive, but just for the sake of showing you this technique, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now what I'll do is I'll go in here and sell it for a lower offer. So something that I'm almost positive it's going to sell for, and I want to go in and hit confirm offer, and there we go. We get an instant sell. So an instant sell would be INS, and that is how that would be written. If there's any time at all that this takes to fill up a green bar, like even a millisecond, it doesn't even matter. If you can breathe, blink an eye, anything, then that means it is a non-instant sell, NIS. And I will have these terms written down in the description down below, so that way you can just remember what they are. But right there, we got an instant sell in our Bandos Tacits of 1065,914. So if we go into our sale history right over here, and we look right here, we know that we sold these Bandos Tacits instantly for 1065, and we now bought these Bandos Tacits for 1119. So what that essentially means is if you want to, you could take this offer right here of 1065,914. And let's see, if you click that, it'll be a sell offer. So you won't really want to go to the buy offer and click that. But what that means is that you could buy these for this price right here, the 1065,914, and you can sell them for this price right here, the 1119,209. Now, the reason why is because when you put an instant buy offer in, so you're trying to like buy it for as much as you can, whoever is selling for the lowest on the GE is the one you're going to buy. So whoever is selling it for lower than everybody else is the one you're going to buy. And then when you do the opposite, when you put this in for sale and you sell it for as low as you possibly can to get an instant sell, then whoever is paying the most is going to get this. So the way that you are able to get your flips in is by paying a little bit more than the guy that's paying the most and then selling it for a little bit less than the guy that's selling it for the least. And that is how you'll be able to do a successful flip. So the margin on this item right here, we know would be something like 1065,914 to 1119,209, which looks like a profit, if I'm not going to do any crazy math here, of roughly 54,000 gold. So that means that you can make 54,000 gold on that. There are some things that come into a factor here, and that is something such as an item's volume. If an item has a lower volume, then doing this basic price check, I guess you can call it the basic PC, does not work on every single item in the game. It is much more meant for items that have a higher volume. Bandos Tacits actually have a little bit lower of a volume, so what that means when an item has a little bit lower volume is there are less of them traded in the Grand Exchange at any given time. Obviously, you can probably guess that this item right here, this adamantite ore, there are probably more adamantite ores in the game currently than there are Bandos Tacits. And there are currently more adamantite ores in the Grand Exchange than there are Bandos Tacits in the Grand Exchange. And usually what that means is there are less of them being traded than there are adamantite ore. There's more people putting in offers for adamantite ores, most likely, and less people putting on offers for Bandos Tacits. What that means is that Bandos Tacits has a lower GE volume than adamantite ore. How does that matter? So the way that matters basically is if you are putting in an offer, like to try and do a basic price check like we just did, instant buy, instant sell, it's not always accurate because since there are fewer amount of Bandos Tacits in the Grand Exchange, for example, then this one right here that we bought for 1119,209, the next instant buy could be 1150. The next one could be 1200K. And I hope you see where I'm going with that. It basically it just means that there are less of them for sale and not everyone's going to have the same price. So what does that mean for you as someone who's trying to flip? What that means is that you could try to stretch the sell price on this Bandos Tacits. Doing a stretch essentially just means that you're going to be adding a little bit more gold in order to try to get a little bit higher than that sell. So this price right here, me instant selling this Bandos Tacits at 1065. If I was to put an offer in there for 1066K, then essentially that would get me a buy. And then when I bought them, I could try selling them for like 1200K or something like that, and then slowly working my way down until I get a sale. And that is just based on the fact they have that lower volume. If I'm flipping something like adamantite ore, then unless I'm doing a full range flip, which I will explain later, then I'm doing an active flip, which is basically just buying now, selling now. And I'm probably not going to stretch it too much because it's such a high volume item that there's probably several thousands, maybe millions of adamantite ores at the exact same price. I'm not going to be able to get a higher price most of the time is what that means. If you guys have any more questions about anything I just explained, then please ask the questions down in the comments below and I will answer your questions regarding everything I just said. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part now. So the next part basically is doing an instant buy and then a non-instant sell in order to find the price of an item. So this is a great technique to do on an item that is higher priced and something you don't want to lose a ton of money on by price checking it. Let's type in something. Let's do a Nox item. So I'll go ahead and do a Nox Scythe. So a Nox Scythe is an item that, number one, when you flip a Nox Scythe, it probably has a decently large margin. And you can kind of guess what an item's margin is going to be without even doing a price check, just based on the average margin. Now, an average margin is something that just the item averagely flips for. If someone was to ask, how much money would I make flipping a Nox Scythe, then I could probably tell them they're going to make somewhere between 1 million and 1.5 million on average. So how can I use that? How can I use that information I just told you to actually be able to get a successful flip? Well, I'll show you. So if I went in here and put a bunch of gold extra, and I don't really have to go too crazy on these. They don't usually sell too far out of the range. And I'm going to buy one of these right here. So I'm just going to put an instant buy offer, and boom, we instantly buy that Nox Scythe INB. Pa-boom, we've got 153,594,998 is going to be our instant buy. So using the technique that I just showed you a minute ago, we could take this Noxious Scythe and instantly sell it to try to find out how much you can buy them for. But due to the fact they are very expensive and they do have a margin, an average margin of 1 to 1.5 million and sometimes higher, I don't really want to instantly sell that, right? Because I'm going to lose a bunch of money. Now, this part right here is probably something that some people watching this video are like, no, you're supposed to do that to be able to find the margin. But I will show you guys a better way to do it that is going to be more effective in the long run and is going to help you make a lot of money. Also, you'll notice right here that this has a buy limit per 4 hours of 2, which means that if I instantly buy this and then instantly sell it to find out how much I can flip them for, I just lost, let's say, maybe $1 million. And then when I go to flip the next one, I might profit $1 million. And I've made 0 gold. So I have had several people ask me how to avoid that problem right there of if I instantly sell, then I don't make any money in the next one. I'll show you how to do it. So we've got 153,594,998. We're just going to keep this very simple of just say 153,590. So I will go over here. I will go 153,590K. Boom. So we put it in there for 153,590K, which is essentially just about 4,000 or 5,000 less than what we just bought it for. You don't have to put it in that much less. I'm just gonna keep it super simple and I don't really care about 5,000 gold. So I'm gonna go right there, drop it by a couple more GP just because I like to have a nice little sell number like that, and then confirm offer. Now what's going to happen is this Nox Scythe is going to sell. Almost every time you do this, the item is going to sell. If you do this with items that are very, very low volume, and I've explained this in some other videos about how item like a Seismic Singularity or a Nex Armor or something like that can have a pretty low volume, and even lower volume than Noxious Scythe will. And items like that, the price may change. So if you do this technique I'm doing right now where I instantly buy something and then I'm going to non-instantly sell it back for essentially the same price. If you do this with an item that is low volume and is dropping, then you have a chance of actually losing a little bit of money on it. But in the long run, it's going to be worth it still because you can still figure out what the price is, go by the average margin, and find out what your non-instant buy is. So let me explain fully how this process works. So we just instantly bought this Nox Scythe. We just put it back in for essentially the same price to resell it. And now what we're going to do is we would pull out our spreadsheet, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about by a spreadsheet, by the way. Boom! So this right here is our Billionaire Flip Club key. This is one of the pages on the Patreon. The Patreon is down below. You guys can check it out if you'd like to. It's a way to support the channel as well as unlock a whole bunch of exact prices and all that kind of stuff to help you guys make a ton of money. This is part of the Discord. You do not have to be a member in order to join the Discord though. Anyway, just a little stuff I want to put out there. For anyone who has this, has access to a bunch of different pages of a spreadsheet. So there's more pages than just this. This is just one of the spreadsheets. I just want to show you guys an example really quick. So average margin on this, let's say Trim Master Work Helm. Let's say the item that we did was a Trim Master Work Helm. The average margin right here that on this sheet is 800K to 1.5 mil. So if I was doing a Trim Masterwork Helm and I just instantly bought that Trim Masterwork Helm, then I can expect to get a margin of somewhere between 800,000 and 1.5 million. You usually want to start with like probably the 1.5 million. And that's just because of, you know, the fact that that's going to be the higher thing. I'm actually just going to go ahead and show you guys right over here the Nox Scythe one, because that is the most relevant to what we're doing. So if you see right here, this right here is a list of a bunch of the tier 90s. This is pretty much all the tier 90s that we do in the Discord right here. So the average margin right there on Nox Scythe is going to be 1 million to 1.5 million, as I was mentioning before, with a stretch of up to 500,000. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but I'll explain stretch a little bit more later. And then the update, wait time and stuff like that, which I'm also going to show you in the next video, not in this one. But for right now, average margin, 1 million to 1.5 million. So if I go back to my RuneScape, and I see right here that I have 153,589,995. So what I'll essentially want to do is just subtract 1.5 million from this price. So that gives me about 152.1 mil, right? So I go over here and I go 151. Oh wait, 152.1 mil. There we go. So my buy offer, based on the instant buy I just got, is going to be something like 152.1. And I'm just going to put that offer in there. So essentially, we instantly bought this for 153.6. And that tells us, going by the average margin of an item, that 152.1 should be buying. If this doesn't buy, then we'll just update this price until it does buy. We will eventually get our buy, and then we already know what we're supposed to sell it at right there, which allows us to make a 1 mil to 1.5 mil margin. Now, the thing with average margins, though, is they are just an average. There are definitely outlying prices. There are times the margins will be much larger. There are also times where the margins could be smaller. So if anyone's sitting back in the comment section, I can hear you already, where you're just like, I get margins of 2 mil on Nox Scythe. Well, you can totally do that. This is just an average margin. And also all the stuff for our spreadsheets are literally just based upon all of the hundreds and hundreds of these items that we flip every day. And so we had to take an average from that. If you do not have access to that spreadsheet, which most of you are not going to have access to that spreadsheet, you can definitely still find out what the average margin is on an item by simply doing a couple things. You can ask somebody, because someone will probably know and they can tell you. Or you can also just kind of go by the amount of experience that you have and just be able to figure it out over time. If you flipped 20 Noxious Scythe, then you probably know what the average margin is going to be, and then doing this kind of price check is going to be much, much easier. So all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. I'll probably just let these sit here and do this. I'm actually going to take this Nox Scythe out because I don't feel like flipping it myself right now. I just really don't care. But this Nox Scythe, I'm just going to leave that in there, and that will eventually sell. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. The next thing is finding a price by based on using a reference that you find. So what I mean by a reference that you find is, if we go back over here to this sheet again, and we look right here, this right here is the forums. So I am currently on the forums. This is the high level weapon status version 27. If you search for high level weapon status on the RuneScape forums, then you'll be able to find prices for tier 90s, tier 92s, and stuff like that. So I'm just using this for an example because it's probably one of the most active threads on the forums for pricing like gear and everything like that. So I know this one's probably gonna be probably the most relevant. Also, anything you see in this video price-wise, I just want to like put this out there. You should probably be able to figure this out, but these prices are not going to be accurate when you guys watch this video. So do not use any prices you see in this video. Right here. So this is the third way of price checking an item. If we see Staff of Sliske, 1339S. So what that means is this guy, so he says he instantly sold it for 1339S. What that means is that he instantly sold it for somewhere between 1339 million and 1340 million. He also said he instantly bought a Saren Godbow at 955B, which means that he instantly bought that Saren Godbow somewhere between 954 and 955 mil. He also instantly buys ZGS. And notice how right here, how he's using that terminology I was just talking about, the INB, INS, and kind of stuff like that. It's very, very useful for you guys to figure that out as you move forward. That way you can like understand what you're seeing when you see this kind of stuff. Also, if you are using our Discord, which our Discord does have free open sections for you guys to see flips, use flips, post flips, help each other out, feel free to join. We have a massive community. Please make it even better. Then you will always see people using this kind of terminology. So instant buy ZGS at 1015B, which means that he instantly bought that ZGS at 1014 to 1015. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to go ahead and go by this Saren Godbow here that he has a 955B. And I'm going to go back to my RuneScape game. And knowing that I see that he bought Saren Godbow for 955B, I would go in here and I would be like, okay, if he instantly bought it for $9.55, that means that that should be the sell price. Because think about it. When we were doing that basic price check of Bandos over here, this right here became our new sell price, right? This price for Scythe became our new sell price. So if his $9.55 instant, that means that should be our sell price. And we know that the average margin on Saren Godbow right now has been somewhere between 5 and 10 million. It's more accurate on our spreadsheet, but I'm just going to go by that. So somewhere between 5 and 10 million. I might want to start something with like a larger stretch. And also, something else too is that since I pulled this item's price from the forums is not always the most reliable source to get your prices. I can tell you that no matter what section of our Discord you use, obviously I'm much more biased to my own Discord, but the thing is when people post prices in there, you can trust the prices in there are correct, because if anyone posts fake prices, then they just get removed or the person gets removed. But I can't do that on the forums, and not really many people can do that on the forums. So there is quite a few times where prices on the forums are not correct. So given that thought, I do tend to give a little bit more room to an offer when I see it on the forums. So if $9.55 instantly buy is what I see on the forums, I'm probably going to start my margin at something like 10 million for a Saren Godbow. If I see that price posted in the Discord and it's like $9.55 instant buy just now, I know that guy's probably telling me the truth. He's also probably going to post a screenshot of it. And so I can be like, okay, that's a real price. But when you see it on the forums, number one, you don't really know when that price happened. And then number two, you don't really know how truthful they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with a much larger margin of about 10 million here and then go for it. So see how this did not instantly buy? Perfect. We're going to come back to that in just a second. Over here, the Nox Scythe, like I said, whenever you do that instant buy and then go into a non-instant sell, it's probably going to sell, which it did. Bing, ding, ding, ding. So we're just going to take that money back out. This Nox Scythe over here probably would have bought. If not, I would just slowly increase my offer until it did buy. But we know for sure that it does sell for that price we just got. So we know that whatever we're buying this for, that's how much money we're going to be making on this Nox Scythe. And that is simply how you do that price check right there. Moving back over to the Saren Godbow on that third way of doing a price check. For this one right here, what you would want to do is you would want to slowly update your offer based on the average amount of time it takes to buy an item. So every item in the game takes a little bit different amount of time in order for you to buy it or sell it. And that is based on the sales volume of an item, the GE volume of an item, kind of how we discussed originally about the volume of an item. So looking right over here, and yeah, I realize this video is going to be a little bit longer, but I hope you guys do enjoy it. Going back over here to the key, I'm going to go ahead and scroll on up here, and I'm showing you guys all kinds of cool stuff from our Discord. So we got right here, we've got these Saren Godbow, which on the last update for this was 4 to 7 million, which it usually does tend to be about that. Like I said, that doesn't mean you can't get more than 4 to 7 million. That just means that's the average. So going right here, I was looking at that 7 kind of thought, and like I said, with the forums, I do like to stretch it a little bit more, which is what we did, so we're good on that. Looking right over here, we see wait time to update, which once again, if you don't have access to this spreadsheet, which you probably don't, unless you've become a member of the Discord and like Patreon and stuff, the amount of time to update is just something, once again, that you can kind of figure out on your own after you have just been flipping the item for a little while, and you can just get a feel of how long it usually takes. So what we say for our Discord is somewhere between 1.5 and 2 hours is like the maximum amount of time that you want to wait before you update an item. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean it's going to take that long for this item to buy. This Saren Godbow could buy in 20 minutes. It could buy in 5 minutes. It could buy in 2.5 hours. But this is kind of like the maximum amount of time you really want to wait before you update your item. And then the amount to update it by is right there. 200 to 500,000 is kind of what I recommend, somewhere in that range of how much you should be bumping your offer up or bumping it down based on, you know, the item itself. So Saren Godbow is a very expensive item, so we'd be adding like 200,000 to 500,000. So if I'm at 945 mil, I might go to 945.5 mil. Also, when it comes to how much you should update something by, it's kind of also based on how far away do you think you are from the item's sell price, right? So if I know that my Saren Godbow average margin is 4 to 7 million, and I'm starting 10 mil below that forum price because I was trying to be safe, I'm probably going to be updating it using the higher number just because of the fact that I think I'm probably pretty far away from the sell price, correct? Now, if I'm only 6 mil away from the sell price, I might be using the lower number just because, once again, I think I'm closer to it. So it's kind of your own personal preference too when that comes about that. But the idea is once you put your offer in, slowly inch your way up there until you get that buy. Once you get that buy, you already know your sell, so you're good to go. And that's how you do that third way of doing a price check. Now, the one last thing I would like to explain with doing the price check and kind of stuff right there is going to be once you have your pricing, like the Serengabo, for example, 945, 955 is what it looks like it is according to that forum thing. If I ended up buying that Serengabo for 945 and I sold it for 955, I can pretty much keep using that price until it has just changed. And you'll know when it's changed because it either won't buy or won't sell. And when it does, just update it a little bit. And then unless the item dramatically changes in price, you can just continue using that same margin for quite a while. I've had it honestly worse. I mean, Serengabo is a great example of an item that I flipped for pretty much the same price, like within a mil of the two prices for like 3 days or even more. So you don't always, you don't have to like freshly start doing a brand new price check or whatever. If you already have an idea where an item is, which is another good reason to kind of stick with an item for a little bit longer. That's really all I have for this first video. There's a lot more stuff I want to pack in this first video, but I don't want to pack in too much stuff when we've already had a lot of time here. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoy this new series. I'm just trying to teach you guys as much as I possibly can in this new series. So I really do appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you along for the entire series. Be sure to join the Discord. It does not matter if you are a Patreon member or not, but if you would like to join Patreon and be able to get exact prices for buying and selling items, doing investing, a bunch of money-making methods, and just basically make making money super, super easy, then feel free to join. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being a supporter of the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.